Alrighty. Today, I just want to quickly explain how the cat pat phase one should be outlined and put together. First, you need to create a cover page, okay, with all the relevant information inside there. And to be able to insert a cover page, you'll go to Insert. Starts to work with me, and you'll select the cover page over there. Now you can choose one of the um, standard ones that are here that are available. As soon as they all come up, all right, you can make use of one of these, or you can come to more cover pages from office.com, okay, and you can choose one of them over there. All right, so you start off by a cover page for your Word document that you're going to need in phase one. Remember, your Word document for your grade 10s, you're going to use in phase one and phase two. Grade 11s and 12s, you're going to be using it in phase 1, 2, and 3. All right. So you put an image inside there, and then you come to your contents. You have to add in an automatic table of contents. To be able to do that, you go to References, Table of Contents, okay, and then it'll give you the option to add one in there. So I'm going to quickly remove mine just to show you. Come on. Let's just remove my table of contents. There we go. And I can choose one of the automatic ones over there if I want to. Okay. After your table of contents, you're going to start adding in your headers. Just remember that before you save your Word document, always come back up to your table of contents, click on it, come to Update, and say Update Entire Table. And say OK. So if you've added any new headers in, if any of your headings have moved to other pages as you've been adding information in, it will update all of this for your table of contents appropriately or accordingly. Right, so then you'll have an introduction. Some of you will have an introduction as to the topic of your cat pat. Then all of you are going to need to add in a task definition. Grade 10s, I think, is plus minus 150 words. Grade 11s, grade 12s, there is approximately 200 words, approximately half a page. Right? So go read through your task definition on how to do your task definition and your introduction. Right, now I've put all these onto different pages so that I can see in my table of contents that I understand how to do that. Thing, how I've done this, I come back to my home page and I use my show hide. All right, you can see that I've just made use of a page break. To get to a page break, I can go to Insert, page break over there, or alternatively, if I want to make use of my keyboard, I use Control and Enter. That will create a page break for me over there. All right, let's remove the show hide. So page break, that will move my text over to the next one. My content, that will be all my headings, my categories, and all my questions that are relevant to that category that I'm going to be put inside there. So for everyone, there's at least 3 categories and a minimum of 10 questions. And please pay special attention to the 4 different levels of types of questioning that you get. I'm not going to be going into that right now. So on your content, then underneath that, you're going to have your summaries of information, and you're going to come to your conclusion of your all the research that you've done. This does not need to be added right now. Okay, what does need to be added in is your introduction, your task definition, your minimum of 3 categories, your minimum of 10 questions. You don't need to have the information for the answers to the questions just yet, but we would like to see the questions over here. Please note that as you're working through your PAT, you may change some of those questions because you might come up with a better question and better information. So feel free to do that as you work through your PAT. Then just have a heading for summaries, a heading for conclusion, and a heading for bibliography. Now, in your bibliography, you have to have at least two website sources, all right, and one other source. The other source is magazines, newspapers, textbooks, and those can be either printed or electronic. If it's printed, you need to scan in the relevant pages that you used to obtain the information from. For all your electronic sources, I need screenshots of the pages that you web pages that you got your information from. So when you fill out your website source, all the information, very very important. Do not forget to put your summary in at the bottom over here, okay? Because that is worth points for each source. Some students forgot to do that in previous years, so please pay special attention to that. Then, once you've got your sources in, and you can have more than one or more than three sources, the more the better. Just make sure that the information corresponds with each other and that is relevant to the topic. Then, according to each source that you've decided to make use of, you've got to have a look at their criteria, and their motivation and explanation. So, have a look at the authority of the document. Okay, who is writing this document? Is it just a blogger? Is it an expert in the field? Um, is it somebody with many years of experience who um, published or distributed that article? The currency, how relevant is it to our current time? An article from 10 years ago probably will not be relevant or current enough for you to be able to use um, in one of your topics. So you got to look at your currency. Is it from earlier this year? Is it within the last 2 years? The accuracy. So if you were to go and search some of that information, Google search or something like that, and you come to other websites, would they say the same thing or something very similar in different wording? Objectivity. So, how objective is the person? Are they being biased with their opinion, or are they remaining neutral? And the coverage, how much does that cover of your topic and your questions and that? So, for every source that you got to have a criteria that you got to go through and double check all of them. And give me the explanations over there. What's their authority? How current is it? How accurate is it? What's the objectivity like? What do you think they're being objective enough, or do you think it's their personal opinion they're being quite biased? Also, remember that when you are busy working on your CatPat, try and remain as neutral as possible. All right, so that your own personal bias does not feed through into your final reports. All righty. After that, move on, and then we have our addendums. So, firstly, we need the folder structure. So it's easy to take a screenshot or provide a diagram of your folder structure. So just to give you an example over here, just minimize those. Here is your main folder, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12 pat, whatever it might be. Open it up. Come on. Open. All right. And inside there, phase 1, 2, 3, grade 10s, you'll have phase 1, phase 2. Inside of your phase 1, you have to have your sources. And inside of there, I need screenshots of the sources that you're going to be using, because that will automatically will already be included in this section over here. So I want that information in your phase 1 already. All right. Then I want screenshots or scans of all your sources so that I can go and review them myself. So those will all go inside of this over here. Right. Inside of the main folder under the subfolder phase 1, you're going to have your Word report. Okay, that's the one that you're going to be filling in. You're also going to have your declaration of authenticity that you're going to be filling in over there. That you can get it towards the bottom of your CAT documents, your PDF. Please print out that page, fill it in, scan it in, and attach it in the relevant folder. You're going to be doing that for every phase. All right. And also, do not fill that in until you've completed the work and you're about to send it off to me. Then you fill it in, put in that day's date, scan it back in, and send it back off to me. Same goes for if you had authenticity, and there's another one, something about original work. Right. So some of you might have two of them that you need to fill in. But let's have a look at our folder structure that needs to go into the document. So it's your main folder, your different phases, and what goes into each phase. Now that is explained in each grade's PAT document. For example, your grade 11s, you've got to have your sources folder with all your screenshots of the sources over there, your MS report, and your declaration of authenticity. Phase 2 will obviously be empty now because you haven't done any of those yet. And phase 3 will also be empty at the moment because you haven't done any of those. I think with the grade 10s, you need to have your questionnaires done with your folding questions. So if they're electronic, I would like an electronic copy of each one of them. If it was a physical questionnaire that you handed out, then you need to scan each questionnaire into place it in the relevant folder over there. So then you'll have an additional folder inside of here saying questionnaires. Please also remember that you've got to have, for the grade 10s, you've got to have a separate blank questionnaire, like the master copy, that needs to go in as well. And that accounts for grade 11s and 12s. When you send me your questionnaires, the completed ones, I also want the master copy for that. All right, so after you've done your folder structure, and I'll come explain to you how to design this now, you're going to have your questions. So yeah, you need to decide your categories. Okay, so remember there's going to be at least 3 categories. Go read through your PAT. They will give you some examples of that. And then they will also give you examples of some questions that you can use to get started with. So then you can pop your questions in there that you're going to get started with and go read about the levels of the questions. There's levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then decide your level of your questions over there. You can put in 3 or 4 different levels into one category, or a category can all be level 1. The next one can be all level 2. The next one can be all level 3. And if you want to carry on to level 4s, that's fine. Just make sure that your information flows, like reading the story, as you move from one point to the next. Okay. All right. Then your sources motivation. No, sorry, that was the motivation that we did earlier over there. That's between your sources. Okay. And then underneath that, you need to put in your screenshot of your declaration of authenticity over there as well. All right. So let me show you to design this folder structure, making use of smart art. Okay, so it's very, very basic. So open up a blank document. Start off, go to insert, come to your smart art, click on that. Right, it's going to open up different ones. For the purposes of your CatPat, the best one would be hierarchy. Okay, and the best layout would be the horizontal hierarchy. So you'll select that one. Used to show hierarchical relationships, processing horizontally, works well for decision trees, okay, and for your folder structures. Say okay. Right, and then build it in over here. Now you'll see that mine looks a lot smaller compared to this. Don't worry about that. As you add in more text, yeah, more sub levels, it will go and change accordingly. You can simply click inside of one of the icons and you can start typing in there. So let's go phase 1, or no, hold on. Let's go with grade 12. You'll see that your text will automatically adjust accordingly. So we can go phase 1, and this one will be phase 2, and so you can carry on over there. But what if you want to add extras to that? The easiest way is just to go and click on the left arrow on the side of your smart art while it's selected. Okay, and it'll bring up your text over here. So when I click on the grade 12s, you'll see that it highlights that one. Phase 1's over there. Phase 2's over there. Why are these ones indented more? Because they're sub-levels. So when I click on this, I can type in on the side over here, sources. Let's take the next one. Let's call this questionnaires. All right. Phase 2. Um, whatever your phase 2 would have inside of it. So it would be your Excel sheet, right? If I hit enter now, it will automatically create a new icon for me over there for my smart art, and it'll bring it down under the same level of where the previous one was. So let's go with Word doc. Let's go one more. Let's go PowerPoint. And as you can see, this is automatically resizing itself so that everything can fit in. Now, what happens if I want to go back one level up and I want to make this the same as the phase 1 and phase 2? Two different ways in which I can do that. First one is I can just use the back space. Okay, so if I undo that quickly, so you can see at the moment this is over here, bottom right hand side. If I click inside of my dialog box over here and I go backspace, now you can see that it has moved one level up over here. Alternatively, I can make use of Shift Tab if I want to. So Tab will create sub levels for me. Shift Tab will move them one level up. And now I can say phase 3. All right. Again, if I want to go one sub level in, I just hit enter and I tab, and it'll create a sub level for me for that. And I can say access and HTML, for instance. As you can see, it's just resizing. So let's have a look at the completed one over here. So let's go to this one. All right, so there's my main folder, my 3 phase folders, and everything that will have to go into them. All right, so please go and design it like this. You can also go and change your designs at the top over here, the smart art styles. So if you just hover over it, it'll give you a different style. Again, you can choose your style if you want to. If you see that your text is wrapping around, for instance, like that, okay, there we go. Sometimes they'll wrap around. If you want to make your blocks a little bit longer, you can simply just drag them out. All right, and then just size them all to the same size. Just note that it's going to size from the center. All right, so this might take a little bit of getting used to be able to get it to the same size. Okay, and that is basically how you create your smart art. You can also come up and change your colors over here if you want to. It's entirely up to you how you want it to look. But the main purpose of this is so that I can understand your folder structure. Righty, and that is basically your phase 1 over here. For phase 2, I will be doing individual videos for each grade. Right, best of luck, and yeah, hope you. And one more thing, before I forget, before handing in your phase 1, please go down to the bottom to the rubric and go and mark yourself and see how many points you get. All right, because the rubric is the exact same form that I use to mark your pad to see if you can mark it and get almost 100%. But be very, very strict with yourself, or get maybe one of your peers to mark it for you first and tell you where you're missing things. Double check everything before you send it to me. And then when you're happy with it, send it to me and tell me that you're ready for marking. But for the time being, I would like everybody to complete their phase 1 and send it through to me for review and for feedback so that we can correct any mistakes before the marking starts. All right. Thank you very much.